Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Nepali football players leaving the country in an alarming rate. National team in dearth of players. The scenario not in priority of monitoring body ENFA. Government steps back from addressing the issues of victims of loan sharks. Prime Minister turns towards the court for solution. Maoist Centre's dissatisfaction with Nepali Congress on the rise, decides to field its own candidate for National Assembly chairperson post. Meetings to make amends with CPN-UML gain momentum. And Team Nepal suffers second successive defeat in the ongoing Nepal Tri-Nations T20I series, lose to the Netherlands by 2 runs. The government seems to have stepped back from dealing with the issues of victims of loan sharks. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has turned towards the judiciary, which he says would better be addressing at the demands of the victims of loan sharks who reached the capital on foot after 23 days. Speaking at a parliamentary committee meeting, Prime Minister Dahal suggested that the court would play a better part at concluding the issue. Prime Minister Dahal has said the government has already formed commissions time and again and that necessary laws has also been formed. Meanwhile, discussions between the Struggle Committee and the Ministry of Home Affairs is ongoing. At the same time, victims of microfinances have also been staging protests demanding for justice. Over a dozen even bridged the Parliament building on Monday this week to pile pressure on the government. In light of the event, Prime Minister Dahal said the government had taken the situation with all seriousness. However, the victims say they want result. Likewise, in regards to the issue of repatriation of Nepalese in the Russian army, the Premier said he was informed of the situation late. So far, 16 deaths have been reported by families of the deceased. The Premier has said that the families of the deceased would be compensated. However, the repatriation of Nepalese stranded in the army is yet to be ascertained. The committee members also asked the Prime Minister regarding the status of Nepal-India EPG report, to which he said preparations are underway to publish the report. The Premier also informed that discussions are underway for a tripartite agreement for the British Gurkha soldiers. Victims of loan sharks have said that the government has delayed in addressing their demands, and they have added that they will continue their protests until their problems are solved. The victims have grown agitated after Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal hinted towards the court to resolve their problem. Third meeting between the victims and the government held at the Ministry of Home Affairs in Singhadarwar ended with basic discussions on the demands. The Struggle Committee of the Farmers Against Loan Sharks and Fraud have alleged the government of trying to confuse the victims. The victims have shared their grievances regarding what they say is the lack of government seriousness towards their issue. They have been demanding erasing of their loans without interest for poor farmers and formation of a judicial commission. Leaders of CPN-UML have met with the Home Minister to urge against filing cases against the victims of microfinances who had barged into the federal parliament and staged a protest. They have said the victims were compelled to take up such measures as they were helpless because of lapses on part of the home administration. Leaders met with the Minister for Home Affairs, Naren Kaji Shrestha, today and urged for an unconditional release of those detained for staging protests. The leaders also said the government had failed in maintaining security and criticized the government for troubling pedestrians by barring movements near the footpaths of Federal Parliament, among other sensitive areas. CPN-UML has also urged the ministry to ensure that the plight of the victims of loan sharks is addressed. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. CPN Maoist Centre has been increasingly dissatisfied with coalition partner Nepali Congress in recent time and has been making efforts for new ties with opposition CPN-UML, which is evident by the frequent meetings between CPN Maoist Centre Chair and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal and CPN-UML Chairperson KP Sharma Oli in recent time. The main opposition has called Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal's recent activities as the strategy of his party, while Nepali Congress has understood it as Prime Minister's UML card. Maoist Centre has been concerned regarding the issues raised at the Mahasamiti meeting of Nepali Congress. Nepali Congress, meanwhile, has already decided it will not form alliances in the upcoming elections. The Mahasamiti meeting also concluded that the national development was halted because of Maoist revolution. Half of Congress members had also signed in favor of reinstating Nepal as a Hindu state. It is understood that Maoist Center is in a state of dilemma and fear because of these issues. Meanwhile, the sour relationship between Prime Minister Dahal and UML chair KP Sharma Oli have softened in recent time. Dahal and Oli have been holding talks at Baluatar and Singhadarwar. The two leaders have also been appearing together at several public programs. However, UML has claimed that the meetings between Dahal and Oli could not be defined as the dawn of a new political alliance or equation. Nepali Congress has claimed that the coalition has been moving forward as per the agreement and has added that the coalition would not change in near future. It has also warned that the move of appearing close to UML could come back to haunt Maoist Center. Meanwhile, analysts say UML chair Oli has been making efforts to split the ruling coalition since its formation, and with issues between the two surfacing, Oli could be aiming to reap benefits. And in this context, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked people in several provinces what they think of the disputes seen within the ruling alliance. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
स्वार्थका लागि बनेको गठबन्धन हो स्वार्थ पूरा हुँदैन खटपट सुरु हुन्छ
जुन खटपट देखेको चाहिँ त्यो हुनु हुँदैन भन्ने चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ
लोकतन्त्रको उल्टो परिभाषा चुनावको बेलामा हुने गठबन्धन हो त्यसमा पनि विजातीय राजनीतिक पार्टीहरुको बीचमा
गठबन्धन गरेको चाहिँ मेरो हिसाबमा राम्रो होइन
राजनीतिक भागवण्डाको लागि पनि यो खटपट सुरु भएको
कुर्सीको खेल मात्रै हो जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ
यो खटपट त पहिले हुनु पर्यो पहिलो नम्बर त यो गठबन्धन नै नहुनु पर्ने
देश र जनताको हितको निमित्त काम गर्नका निमित्त गर्नुपर्ने सत्ता गठबन्धन आवश्यक छ
तोडेर जुन नेपाली जनतालाई धोका दिने यो परिस्थिति जो देखिदै आएको छ यो समग्रमा गलत हो
निजी स्वार्थ चाहिँ फुलफिल सबैको भएन अब फेरि टुट्नेवाला छ यो सुनेर फेरि अब देश फेरि अब कतातिर लाग्ने हो यो हामीलाई फेरि चिन्ताको विषय फेरि बन्न गएको छ
विचार मिल्नेहरुको पार्टीहरुको गठबन्धन गराएर सरकार बनाउनु पर्छ र त्यसले एउटा दिशा निर्धारण गर्छ र देशलाई सही ट्र्याकतिर लैजान्छ जस्तो लाग्छ अहिलेको यो गठबन्धन कुनै हिसाबले पनि राम्रो छैन भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई
यो सत्ता गठबन्धन विदेशीको हक हितमा मात्र काम गर्ने गरेको छ अहिलेसम्म हेर्दाखेरि र देशको हकमा कुनै पनि काम गरेको छैन
हरेक समयमा देखिने यो खटपटले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नेपाली राजनीतिमा अस्थिरता अझै थप बढाउने देखिन्छ
And now on to international update. Joe Biden's campaign and top Democratic officials vow to double down on efforts to win over voters as the U.S. president aims to solve conflicts in the Middle East after Michigan registered a stronger than anticipated protest vote over his support of Israel. About 13.5% of Michigan Democrats cast a ballot for uncommitted in the primary following weeks-long push by activists, an Edison research tally showed at midnight of Eastern Standard Time. With about half of all votes counted, the uncommitted vote was already over 61,000 votes, suggesting the final total will be many times expectations. Turnout for the Democratic primary was also high. At some 1 million voters overall, about 81% of those votes backed Biden. Biden's staunch support for Israel during its 5-month war with Hamas that has decimated Gaza has sparked outrage and a well-organized backlash among progressive Democrats and Arab Americans, with Michigan as their epicenter. Biden won Michigan by a less than 3% margin in 2020, and some polls show likely Republican candidate Donald Trump ahead in a head-to-head matchup this time. 81-year-old Biden faces low general approval ratings and concern about his age, as does former president, who is 77-year-old. Trump was formally ordered to pay about $450 million for fraudulently manipulating his net worth by a New York judge this month, and faces 4 unrelated criminal prosecutions in which he has pleaded not guilty. Some 35% of Republicans backed former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley in the Michigan primary, a potential sign of weakness for Trump as well. Some of our voters have said they won't back Trump in a general election. If Trump is re-elected, he is expected to be a strong supporter of Israel and its right-wing leader Benjamin Netanyahu. We've got more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break. Welcome back. It's time now for Sports Update.
Sports News.
A-Division League, seen as the backbone of Nepali football, will not be held for 1 year. This step of the All Nepal Football Association is likely to further fuel the exodus of Nepali footballers, and the standard of Nepali football is likely to further degrade. Many national team players have left the country in the past 2 years because of absence of league for a long period of time and no alternative to generating income. Ashish Lama, Bimal Gharti Magar, Vishal Rai, Saroj Dahal, Abhishek Rijal, Suman Lama, Darshan Gurung and Dinesh Rajbangsi, among more than 40 players, have already left the country. The General Assembly meeting of ENFA was held on Monday. However, the meeting focused only on the funds from FIFA and AFC. Calendar of football activities for the year was not on the table. ENFA officials themselves have said that the entity is plagued with politics, corruption and lack of transparency. They have alleged the ENFA leadership of engaging in conspiracies to abuse the funds provided by FIFA and AFC without organizing any football activity. B and C Division leagues have not been held, while Women's League has been scheduled for next month. However, the league is still uncertain. Actions have been taken against 4 B Division clubs, while the B Division clubs boycotted Monday's General Assembly. Instead of football activities, the General Assembly was focused on financial regulations and more financial authority to the ENFA President and General Secretary. ENFA members are of the understanding that irregularities could not be done through e-bidding, because of which the regulation was amended. The increased financial affinity of officials in ENFA and poor management has weakened the national team and has created a negative impact on production of new players. ENFA President Pankaj Nemwang does not want to respond to questions on these issues that have been plaguing Nepali football. Team Nepal suffered second successive defeat in the ongoing triangular series. In the match played at Tribhuvan University International Cricket Grounds in Kantipur, Nepal lost to the Netherlands by 2 runs. After being put to bat, the Netherlands posted 184 runs for the loss of 4 wickets in their 20 overs. Michael Levitt top scored with 54 runs, while Sybrand Engelbrecht remained unbeaten at 49. Skipper Scott Edwards added 33 and Teja Nidamanuru scored 31 runs. Karan Casey and Kushal Malla shared a wicket each for Nepal. In reply, Nepal were restricted to 182 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in 20 overs. Deepender Singh Aidi top scored with 63 runs. Skipper Rohit Paudel added 50 and Ashif Sheikh scored 34, while none of the other batters made notable contributions. Hosts Nepal required 15 runs in the last over. Deepender Singh Aidi hit a 4 followed by a 6 in the first 2 balls before 2 wickets fell, and Nepal failed to reach the target by 2 runs. Engelbrecht and Roelof van der Merwe picked 2 wickets each for the Netherlands, while Vivian Kingma, Tim Barden Gugten and Aryan Dutt shared a wicket apiece. Prior to this, Nepal had suffered a 20-run defeat against Namibia in their first match. The Netherlands will next play Namibia in the match slated for tomorrow, while Nepal will play the Netherlands again on Friday. The semi-final matches of the KP Oli Cup Football Championship are slated for tomorrow. In the first match, Jaulakhel Youth Club will lock horns with new road team NRT. Jaulakhel had booked its place in the last 4 by defeating organizers KP Oli team in the quarter-finals. NRT had defeated strong contender 3 Star. The match between Jaulakhel and NRT has been scheduled for 11 a.m. kickoff at Dashrath Stadium. All the matches till the quarter-finals had been played at the ENFA complex in Sadobatu. The semi-final and the final matches will be played in Dashrath Stadium. The second semi-final between Machindra Club and Mane Bhanjang FC is slated to begin at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Indian team Mane Bhanjang had earlier defeated Delhi FC. Machindra had booked its place in the semi-final, defeating Nepal Police 4-0. It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public poll.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we asked you, what's your take on the Prime Minister's directive to the Dairy Development Corporation? 37% voted for option A, arbitrary directive, 52% for B, seeking popularity, and 11% for C, consoling the farmers. And here's today's question. Who is responsible to avoid the exodus of football players? Your options are A, ENFA, B, National Sports Council, and C, players themselves. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.